This has been a long time coming, as many of you know what has happened here. I do not need to go into the history of it. A lot of you have paid money to other developers. Monies have disappeared. I understand there's a bit of tension earlier on about certain people who are upset. Of course, in this particular area, this has happened twice. Different developers have come along, taken money from people, and they have not been able to fulfill that. Government obviously then stepped in, and government will carry out this subdivision at its own cost. What we have seen in the past, and I understand that you would appreciate this, in the Sakoca settlements such as this, or what may be called informal settlements, people don't necessarily build homes in order. They build it all over the place. Now, for proper subdivision to take place, we need to ensure that when we build the roads, it has to be wide enough. Because whenever you do a subdivision, you'll want the buses to run in those places, right? When you have buses to run in those places, you need a road wide enough for two buses to pass each other, or a bus and a car. And what we've seen in the past is that a lot of people who have lived in informal settlements don't want to make a shift. They don't want to give a bit of their yard. This is why a lot of the informal settlements, in fact, have been held up. Because there's no way we can carry out a proper development, put footpaths, put roads, put street lights, if we don't have enough space. And I'm sure once the development takes place, you want the 99-year lease. After that, you want the footpath. After that, you want the road to be functioning, fully functioning. You'll also want street lights. So in order for us to be able to carry out those developments, people have to make adjustments. People cannot be greedy about it. We've seen in one subdivision that we wanted to carry out has been held up for 5 years. And we aren't able to move ahead with the subdivision. Government some months back presented a bill to Parliament where now we have the ability, if we're going to carry out a development of a particular area, then we have the ability to get people to move their homes if they don't want to move their homes. You still stay within the subdivision, but in order for us to make sure that the roads are all aligned, that we'll be able to move your house, you can move it back to another place and we'll actually facilitate that. So please understand that. In order for you to have a proper subdivision, we need to make those adjustments. Number two, remember, at the moment, you don't have a lease. You have what we call a Vakavanu arrangement. Under the Vakavanu arrangement, you may have paid some money to the landowners, and then you pay on a monthly basis. You cannot use your land to go to the bank and mortgage the lease to build a nice concrete home. There's no value in terms of being able to mortgage it. Now when the subdivision will be completed, you'll be able to get a 99-year lease. And that's your security. You can then go to the bank, you can get a loan, you can apply to the Ministry of Housing. We give a grant of $30,000 for you to build your first home if you earn less than $50,000 a year. And I'm sure many of you would comply with that. Many of you earn less than $50,000 a year. Of course, in some squatter areas, we've seen lots of people who earn lots more money than that. We found some squatter areas where people have nice proper homes, they're renting it out, but they come and live in a squatter area. We've seen that too. We've seen in other informal areas where people have built homes in squatter areas and they're renting it out. The landowners miss out. The other people who need that miss out. What we want to do is do everything properly. We want the landowners to get the money up front. We want them to get a proper market rate for each lease. We want you to get a 99-year lease. Everybody benefits that way. If we do things properly, everybody will benefit. The landowners will get benefit, they'll get the right rate. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what this is all about. And when we have a development lease, it means that we are paying your rental during the period of the development to TLTB. So you don't have to pay the monthly $50, $30, whatever it is you pay. Just a few days ago, we've now acquired the development lease for Sakoca 2, known as the Wrong Turn Road. Sakoca Wrong Turn. We just got the development lease. So those people who live in Sakoca 2, the next couple of weeks when the lease is given, then you also don't have to pay because we'll be paying directly to the landowners through TLTB. And that's the beauty about it. Government is taking care of that. So I would urge you, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that during this development phase, that you cooperate with the developers, with the contractors. This is costing us over $5 million, in excess of $5 million. That's coming from the government budget. As you know, we announced this in the budget. That's why we are here today. And you're not paying a single cent for that. Please appreciate that. The entire subdivision is being done by government. We've got about 42 sites like this around Fiji. 42. Sakoca, Nandi, various other places. There are a lot of people who've been living in these types of areas. Some of you may be new here, but we've found certain informal areas, people have been living there for 50, 60 years. Some even more than that. And now some of them are enjoying a 99-year lease. When you get the lease, you can pass it on to your children for the term of the lease. So that's what we're here for. And please, once the subdivision is done, you'll all get a proper title, and you'll be able to, of course, build your home. You can also apply for the government grant if you're building your first home. You can qualify for that. You'll have to go through a bank to be able to get qualification for that. And when government gives a grant of $30,000, a grant means you don't pay us back. Why are we doing this? Because we want people to own their own homes. When you own your own home, you have security. You don't have to go to the money lender. When you have your own home, you can go to the bank and get a further loan if you want. When you have your own home and you get a 99-year lease, you can pass it on to your children. You can will it to your children. And at the same time, the landowners are being paid the market rate, they get money up front. They get a lot more. When they lease out land, just the Vakavanu arrangement, $30, $50 a month, is not much. When the lots actually sold, in some places we've seen the lots being sold for $50,000, $100,000. That's money up front for them. Government also at the same time is carrying out what we call Itaukia land development. When landowners come to us, they say, look, we've got this area, we want to develop it. Government goes and puts the water, the electricity, the footpaths, the street lights, the Tahsil Road, all of that. We've seen that happening throughout Fiji. Recently, the Honorable Prime Minister did one in Tailevu. We launched one. Well, landowning unit there have gone ahead and done that. We recently done one in Nyandua in Nanronga. We also did one in Vunda. A few others are coming on stream in Warambitia and Saveni. We had one lady from one particular landowning unit. She went and leased the land from her. Matangali came to us. And she'll get 33 lots. Each lot will be sold for about $100,000 to $120,000 each. And she'll get over $3 million. And that's hers. And of course the landowners get the pounders from that too. So all of these developments are taking place, and the reason why we're doing that is because from us, as you know, the ministry is no longer called Ministry of Housing. It's called Ministry of Housing and Community Development. We want to develop communities. We want people to feel safe in the communities. I'd also like to today announce, as was announced in the budget, regarding what we call the Social Housing Assistance Policy, which will be implemented. The Social Housing Assistance Policy is essentially targeted to people who live in the rural and maritime areas. Where there's a package, we have actually a design for a house, a 2-bedroom house, where the cost is about $20,000. Government will contribute $10,000 towards that by way of hardware and of course cartage costs, etc. It's mainly for people in the maritime and the rural areas. Not applicable to you, but I just wanted to make that announcement that as announced in the budget, we have funding for that. Those people in the rural and maritime areas will be the beneficiaries of this. And the application process, of course, will start with the Ministry of Housing, and they'll be giving out more details later on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're here for. As we said, we don't want to, make a long speech, but I'm quite happy for if you want to ask any questions. But I'd like to thank the landowning unit for their cooperation and collaboration, TLTB. I'd like to thank the PS for Housing and Community Development, and Director for Housing, who's also here with us. This is one of the most controversial sites we've had. I'm sure many of you know that. You had a number of developers who've come along, asked for development lease. People have taken money and then disappeared into the night. I understand some people have paid money twice. We cannot remedy that. What we can do is provide a solution for you going forward. And today is a culmination of that. In other words, we're marking the beginning of this subdivision of this Sakoca, and then of course Sakoca 2. Where we'll be starting a bit later on too. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We wish you all the best. Please value the land that you have. Please build nice homes. And as I said, please take advantage of the initiatives that have already been announced in the budget. Thank you very much.